Welcome to 10-Minute Astrology, a weekly video series designed to introduce you to the principles of astrology and its components in a fun and easy-to-understand way. I'm Amy Herring. I'm a professional astrologer in Seattle. You can find me on the web at heavenlytruth.com. If you'd like to schedule a reading or find out about personal one-on-one tutoring sessions, you can do so at my website. During this series, we will be discussing natal astrology only, which is a branch of astrology that focuses on the life of an individual. The principles in this series will be introduced from the perspective of evolutionary astrology, which is a tradition that focuses on your spiritual growth and development, past life karmic issues, and present life purpose. Each episode is only 10 minutes long, and a new episode will be available each week on my website. Hello, and welcome to 10-Minute Astrology. I'm Amy Herring, and this is episode 1. In this episode, we will be discussing what astrology is, some different types and uses of astrology, some common questions or objections about astrology and their answers, and a philosophy behind natal astrology. What is astrology? Astrology is the study of the positions and movements of various celestial bodies in the sky, such as the sun, moon, planets, with the theory that they have some kind of correlation with human affairs and events, whether it's in the life of an individual, a couple, a family, or an entire civilization or country. Let's look at some of the different types and uses of astrology. I'll only be able to suggest a few here, but it'll get the idea across. How about mundane astrology, electional astrology, horary astrology, locational astrology, and natal astrology? Mundane astrology is the study of places. So just like you or I have creation dates, the moment we were born, our time and date of birth, so do places, towns, cities, countries. Now, sometimes it's very difficult to tell when those countries or towns began. Was it perhaps when the Constitution was signed? Or was it perhaps when a certain group invaded, took over a country? Much can be learned about a place and the certain vibe of a place and things that happen within that place by looking at when that place was created and its own natal chart. Electional astrology is used when you want to pick the right time for something, such as a good time to get married, to start a business, to make a move or a job change. Sometimes there's a better time to do something than at other times. And looking at a certain chart, a certain configuration of planets in the future, can tell you maybe when that event would be best supported. This doesn't guarantee success for your event, but it's in an effort to make sure that everything you could do to make sure that event does succeed has been done. Horary astrology is the practice of casting a chart looking at the configuration of planets at the moment you ask a question that you need an answer to. For instance, if you need to find a lost object, horary is commonly used. The idea here being that if you ask the question in earnest, you can look to see where the planets are in the heavens for your exact time and location that you asked a question, and by interpreting the chart that was cast, that should give you an answer. Locational astrology encompasses two forms of astrology, relocational astrology and astrocartography. Both are techniques that essentially take the chart of an individual and relocate it, put it in a different location, and see where the different locations might highlight certain activities or certain issues in your own chart, in your own life. The theory here is that some places can bring out certain qualities in our personalities, or bring out certain events in our lives. Natal astrology, of course, is the study of the individual and the life of the individual. Natal astrology, natal meaning birth, is essentially looking at the time and place and day, the exact moment of someone's birth, when they take their first breath as their own being in this world. So just what is a chart? All types of astrology use a chart. A chart, an astrology chart, is essentially a map of the sky, with the planets and certain heavenly bodies included, showing their location. Some common questions or objections to astrology often have to do with a misunderstanding about what astrology can and can't do. Common question is, how can I share the same fate and the same personality with everybody else who shares my sign? Since there's only 12 signs, that's really dividing people into many great buckets. Well, many people don't realize that you are more than your sun sign. What makes you a Taurus or a Gemini or a Sagittarius is typically because the sun was in the sign of Taurus, Gemini, or Sagittarius when you were born. However, the location of the moon, Mercury, Mars, all the rest of the planets, they are also relevant, just as relevant as the sun. Popular astrology doesn't often go over this. The popular sun sign horoscopes that we see in the newspaper, most people don't recognize that there is more to it than just that. This answer can also be a great fit for the next question, which is, why doesn't my sign fit me? Again, most people will look at, say, their sign Virgo and say, well, some of it fits, but a lot of it doesn't. And so they'll look and say, astrology is sometimes true, but it's pretty hit and miss. Well, actually, again, because the planets were in different locations other than just your sun in the sign of Virgo, you have very many different qualities that are wrapped up in all of those different combinations. Another common question, can astrology really predict or control my personality? Can I change my chart? While many people believe in the predictive power of astrology, it's commonly misunderstood just how the predictive aspect of astrology works. Most of the exposure that an average person gets to astrology is of a general nature, such as what's going to happen to every person with a Leo sun on a certain day. But even astrologers that write those columns know there's more to personal accurate predictions than a sun sign. A proficient astrologer will take your entire chart and look at how all the planetary positions blend together with each other to reflect who you are. Someone with a Leo sun and a Virgo moon, for example, is going to express themselves differently than someone with a Leo sun but an Aries moon. Other than experimenting with other methods of astrology, you cannot change your chart. However, it's not necessary to do so, as your chart is best used not as a way to limit you, but a light to guide your steps through life. There are a few philosophies about how to approach the interpretation of a natal chart, but this series will be outlining how to approach understanding natal astrology from the perspective of personal growth. Some astrologers may believe that they can predict when you will get married, acquire or lose a job, or predict illness. But even in the hands of a skilled astrologer, these predictions often don't have a success rate that's satisfactory, and can even lead to a dissatisfying and disempowering reading, leading you to believe that you should expect a big payout or maybe prepare for disaster, with little understanding as to your role in the process. A more effective way to look at natal chart interpretation is not about what fate will befall you, but what choices you will be confronted with, what lessons you are likely to encounter in your life, and what issues are at the heart of these lessons and choices. These choices are always up to you, and a useful and accurate understanding of your natal chart will educate you so that you can make more conscious choices, rather than limit you by dictating your fate. Throughout this series, we'll demonstrate just how much freedom there is within a natal chart, and how to use your chart to fulfill your potential. This has been 10 Minute Astrology. I'm Amy Herring. Next episode, we'll talk about astrology's mechanics.